are currently homeless. I suffered a back injury in 2009 and lost my job because of it, was unable to work because of it, and suffered a very long-term recovery from the back injury that did not allow me to work or really do a lot of things, even, personal things around the house because of the injury. And because of that, we ultimately became homeless. Initially, I came here alone. I sent Chance, my son, to live with his father, because I really didn't want to bring him into a homeless shelter at the time. And so I came alone. I stayed here for 3 months, 2.5 months. I stayed 2.5 months, and my mom got sick and went to ICU. So I left, and I stayed with her to take care of her through her recovery. And once she recovered, then the school year had ended. I really wanted to get Chance back in my care, and so I made the decision that I didn't want to make back then. I made the decision to bring him into the homeless shelter with me so that we could kind of get into a program that would help me to become employable again. My first time being homeless. I was homeless once before when I was 25. I was homeless. I went through a really amazing program. I fled an abusive relationship and went into a battered women's shelter in Houston, Texas. I fled to a whole nother state to completely be away from him. So I wouldn't go back because it's so easy to go back. But yeah, this is not my first time, but I certainly hope that it will be the last time that we have to be homeless. I'm educated. I have an associate's degree. I have held very good jobs. I've worked for a Fortune 500 company before. And I had a job when I got the back injury. I had a job then, and my own house, and my own car, and, everything. But one injury caused me to lose everything. Everything. My car, my house, my job, everything. One injury. Came into the shelter with a child. It changed the whole game for me. It changed the whole game for me because he's a finicky eater. He doesn't eat everything. He's used to eating what he wants to eat when he wants to eat it. He's not used to this is what there is, it's this or nothing. And there's meals now where he doesn't eat anything, nothing. And he understands now what it means to have to wait until the next day.
I'm not used to eating food that I eat here, but it's either you eat it, you don't eat it, you just going hungry. Because there are only 2 meals. The rest of the meals I eat are either at school or at her job. There are activities here that provide fun and activities and crafts and all that. But there are consequences, like not having all of the toys that I used to have and not all of the consoles and all of the game systems. My birthday had came and I thought I wasn't going to have that much of a birthday. I had a cake. I basically had a family. My sister came. My nephew was there. I had toys. I pretty much got my birthday in the biggest pack that I could have. Still, I am grateful because otherwise I would be somewhere else and I don't know about that. It's good, but there's consequences. I don't like it. I have to wake up at 5 just to get breakfast and just to get on my bus. I used not to tell my friends that I am in a homeless shelter, but if they know, I try and not let them know more about it. The only person that I pretty much tell and they know about is adults, because they'll take it right. They won't try and tell anybody or anything like that. Or if you tell kids anything like a secret, they're going to spread it.
Well, I was really concerned about Chance when school time came around. First of all, I didn't have school clothes for him, or shoes, or a backpack. I didn't know how I would get those resources. I wasn't working at the time, and so I was really concerned about that. And I was also concerned about his grades, and if I expected that he would have poorer grades since we were in the shelter than he would normally have. So I was really concerned about that as well. AMP provided us with some resources to get him some school shoes and a backpack and supplies and things that he needed to go to school. So that was a worry alleviated. But also, after the first 9 weeks, he made me a very proud mama by bringing home an all-A report card. He was the only student in his class to get all A's. And I was very, very, very proud of him. He really impressed me. He really blew me away because I expected that his grades would be worse. But they have actually gotten better because last year, when we were not homeless, he was an A-B student. And now this year, we're homeless and he's an A student. So
when you're in the classroom, it's hard to be good because you have to worry about the other kids in your classroom trying to put you down. That's the thing that I just try to ignore. And being in a homeless shelter and doing homework, it seems easier because you have help and you have the choice to use the help. Where if you're in a house, you have the only choice is to do your homework or suffer the consequences. You have no help, you have textbooks. So I think it is easier in a homeless shelter when you have school to worry about.
Trying to get him to understand about the curfew and how even if we're at a friend's house and we're enjoying ourselves and having a good time, in order to have somewhere to sleep tonight, we have got to go and meet this curfew. Understanding why, even if we're sick and don't feel good, that we have to leave out of the shelter in the morning. You know, there's so many questions. And I know that some of them I have the answers for, but a lot of them I don't. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What if they put us out? What if you get in a fight? What if, there's so many questions that he has about our future. And as a parent, it just kills me because I can't give him the stability that I know that he needs to be healthy and to have a healthy mental, state about himself. But I try to assure him that this is temporary, this is not permanent, and that, we celebrate every goal met, every step taken. We celebrate that, and we know because that is one step closer to ending homelessness, to being self-sufficient. So even small things like increasing my hours from 10 to 20, we celebrated that big time. That meant more money being saved, and that meant closer to meeting our goal to getting out of here. To really think about or concentrate or focus on the effect it's having on him as a child being homeless. As a child, I know it affects him because he asked me questions like, especially in the beginning when I had 90 days to find a job. We were 2 days from being put out of here because we had a maximum amount of days. Should I tell him that when our 90 days is up, we're going to be put out? Should I tell him that? Or should I keep it from him? And I chose to tell him because I think that knowledge is power. And I think that by him knowing, he would feel a little bit of sense of power. That he would feel like he was important and he counted and he mattered in the decision making. There's something that you yourself have done to cause your circumstances. And that is never, rarely. It probably is once or twice. But that is rarely the case that this individual caused their own homelessness. rarely is that the case. Usually it's circumstances like mine, where I got a back injury and lost my job, or, you know, you were taking care of a sick parent and then they died and then you can't find a job, and, you know, the house goes into foreclosure or whatever. You know, there's usually not something I did to myself to make me homeless. Usually being homeless is because of your circumstances that you can't even have any control over. So realize these people are just like me. We're just normal, everyday, average people who have come across some really bad circumstances, and we are now homeless. When you are homeless, your state of mind dictates what kind of time you're going to have being homeless. You know, that if I stay positive and I stay uplifted and I stay inspired and I stay moving forward towards my goals, that eventually this will end. This will be temporary, and eventually it will end, and I will be on the other side of the fence looking back.